Hello, hello everyone. How's everyone doing? How is everyone doing today? How is everyone doing? Oops, got my thumb in the place, in the space, in the place. How's everyone doing on this beautiful Sunday evening? It's hot. I know it's hot. I know it is definitely hot, but anyway, hello, Benny E. Hello, Mr. Jackson. How's everyone doing this evening? Welcome to Let's Talk. Um, it's so good to have you guys here this evening. Um, but anyway, um, let's go ahead and get started with tonight's session. Hello, Althea Thomas. Hello, Duchess Thomas, Gladys Johnson, Benny E. Welcome, all of you all to this week's edition of Let's Talk. Okay, welcome to this week's edition of Let's Talk. I am your host, Juju, and I'm coming to you live this evening from my living room. Each week here on Let's Talk, we will discuss current events and their impact on the Black community. We will also highlight local Black-owned businesses, local entrepreneurs, local artisans, local nonprofits, and upcoming events that will give small businesses an opportunity to showcase their products. Let's Talk is created to be a positive, uplifting, and informative discussion. All constructive opinions are welcome as we must learn to listen to and consider the opinions of others, even if we don't agree with them. This isn't a place to tear down anyone, but to uplift, and enlighten. Therefore, if your comments are not coming from a place of love and are not intended to uplift and enlighten, then we kindly ask that you please find another forum to express them. Please note that any opinions that I might share are strictly that, my opinions. This isn't intended to be a news show. Um, this isn't intended to be a news show, but we will try our best to steer clear of gossip and things that are knowingly untrue. It is my sincere hope that everyone finds this a safe place where you feel comfortable engaging with one another and sharing your opinions. About your host, I am a child of the Most High God who has been saved by grace. Every good and perfect part of me comes from God. Therefore, I praise Him and I give Him glory anytime I'm given the opportunity. My motto is I am walking by faith, inspiring hope, and showing love along the way. Let's Talk is produced by my dear friend and brother who always has my back, Mr. Jerry L. Jackson. Um, to my audience, I just want to invite you, if there is any topics you are interested in discussing, please comment in the chat or feel free to messenger me or Mr. Jerry Jackson, and we will do our best to make it happen. This is our discussion, not my discussion. So anything that you would like to talk about, let us know and we can talk about it. Okay, so all that being said, let's talk. Tonight's show focuses on religion in America. All righty. Hello, Mr. Andrew Page. Hello, Miss Lynette Vincent Mays. I'm looking forward to seeing you next weekend. Is it next weekend? I think it's weekend after next. Miss Darlene Todd, it was good to see you today. Mr. Michael France, thank you for joining. All righty. So, as an icebreaker for today, we're going to start with the question. Um, as most of us know, this week, the state of Louisiana signed a law that requires all public schools, including state colleges and universities, to display the Ten Commandments in every classroom. What do you think of this law? Do you agree with the mandate? If so, why? If not, why not? And thank you, Lynette Vincent Maids, for sharing. Because I forgot to tell you guys, as you come in, please like and share the video. Please like and share the video as you come in so that we can get more viewers, more opinions, more discussion happening. So the question before you is, we all know that the state of Louisiana signed a law that requires all public schools, K through 12, and including state colleges and universities, to display the Ten Commandments in every classroom. What do you think of this law? Do you agree with the law? Why and why not? Why and why or why not? All righty. And while you all are getting that information up for me, I am going to just share with you um, uh, uh, one of the Methodist churches in Louisiana is Grace Methodist Church. Grace Methodist Church posted this in response to the law. If your version of Christianity wants to put the Ten Commandments in schools, but take free lunches out of them, you are worshiping something other than Jesus. What do you guys think about it? Andrew says that he agrees that this is where it needs to be. As a child during the 60s, it was displayed in my elementary school. Okay. And Mr. Jackson said, what is the purpose of the law? It's contradicting everything it's meant to intend. The Ten Commandments, no prayer. Anybody else have any comments on it? Anybody else have any comments on it? And I am trying to think back, because that was a long time ago that I was in elementary school or school like that. I remember us saying the Pledge of Allegiance every morning. Um, I don't remember ever being in school where they had prayer before class. I don't remember. That was never a part of school for me. And I don't ever remember Ten Commandments being displayed. Again, what is the purpose of the law? I don't know, but I find it very interesting. When I saw the post from Grace Methodist Church, I was kind of on that same page. If your version of Christianity wants to put the Ten Commandments in schools, but take free lunches out of them, you're worshiping something other than Jesus. When you want to put up a document, it's kind of like the Pharisees. You want to put the law out there, but the spirit of the law, to me, is missing. Because if you are trying to take free lunches out of school, and kids, a lot of them, that's that's the only opportunity that they have for a hot meal is what they get at school. But you want to post the Ten Commandments? Yeah, I have to agree with you, Mr. Jackson. It's kind of contradictory. Ms. Andrews said, let me go back. In my time in school, our teachers prayer over us each and every day. Okay, I just didn't have that. Stephanie Lee, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for joining me. I enjoyed you at the Juneteenth festival, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Duchess said, I don't need nor want schools teaching my children religious doctrine. That is my and my church's responsibility. I have to agree with that. I remember saying the pledge every morning. That was that's Darlene Todd. Hello, Beverly Christian Jordan. Thank you for joining us. All right, so let's talk about religion in America. Um, and let us clear up some things that I think are a lot of people uh, have wrong or misunderstand or have been taught improperly or they just say stuff knowing that it's wrong but trying to convince others that it's right. It is often stated that America is a Christian nation. However, although Christianity is the religion practiced by a majority of Americans, America does not, repeat, does not have an official religion. And the truth is that the majority of the colonists that came to the New World, those that came from England to the America, they did so seeking religious tolerance and freedom to worship as they choose. Freedom of religion is one of the fundamental tenets of the founding of America. So, hello, Cynthia Sparks and Justin Thomas. When we talk about, hello, Zakoria, how are you doing? Hey, C. When we talk about America being that based on Christianity and Christian fact, that's not true. And you hear that a lot of times, and you hear it from a lot of different politicians. But the politicians, they know the Constitution. They know what they know or should know. I'm not going to say that they necessarily do, but should know the Constitution. They should know the amendments. They should know that Christianity is not the official or religion of the United States. The United States does not have an official religion. It was based on religious freedom. All righty, let's see. Mr. Jackson says, does every child believe in the Ten Commandments? No. By volunteering at the local elementary, sometimes this is the only meal that these children have. On the weekends, local groups send home meals. Yeah, that's, I think, Joyce, Duchess, they used to do blessings in a backpack. You assume they know the Constitution. That's right, Mr. France. I'm making that assumption, and I could be very wrong, especially based on some of the things that some of our congressmen say and do. You are correct. Hello, Gregory Maddox. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so in 1791, the First Amendment to the Constitution was ratified, and this amendment guaranteed free speech, freedom of the press, freedom of peaceful protest, freedom of peaceful assembly, and freedom of religion. And in the establishing of the freedom of religion, there's two clauses. One is the Establishment Clause, which says that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. The government shall have no official religion. And then the second one was the Free Exercise Clause, which says that the government should not prohibit anyone from the free exercise of religion. The government should not prohibit anyone from worshiping as they please. And so um, when we look at the law in Louisiana, the First Amendment was something that was established when it talked about religion and talked about freedom of religion. it didn't want there to be a state, a official religion, because that's what they were trying to get away from when they left Great Britain. And also, they wanted people to be able to worship as they saw fit, and they wanted it to be a separation between church and state. So when you start saying you have to have the Ten Commandments and the Christian version of the Ten Commandments in your classroom, then is that a violation of the separation of church and state, which is mandated by the 1973 court case of Lemon versus Kortzman? It established a three-pronged criteria to ensure that the government's actions do not violate religious freedom. And the first one is that a policy cannot have a religious purpose. A policy cannot promote or favor any set of religious beliefs. And then the third one, a policy cannot overly involve the government in religion. All righty. Hello, Ms. Shantarsha Lawrence. Thank you for joining us. Okay, my first question is, do you think there should be a separation of church and state? What are your opinions on that? Should there be a separation of church and state? Especially knowing that this country was founded because people were seeking religious tolerance and religious freedom. Greg said, are we one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all? That is a part of the pledges of allegiance. However, like I said, the Constitution said we should have religious freedom. Hello, Adriel Vincent. How are you doing? Thank you for joining. I hope you'll join in the conversation, because I am so interested in younger voices when it comes to the subject of religion. Do you think there should be separation of church and state? Me personally, yes. There should definitely be separation of churches and state. That's Duchess. I have to agree with Duchess wholeheartedly, because religion. Hello, Ashley Milford. How are you doing? Because United States is based on religious freedom. So when we talk about, let's say, religion in schools, um, if we allow Christians to pray, then what we also have to allow Buddhists to chant, we have to allow the Muslims to pray, we have to allow Jewish people to pray. If we open it up to one religion, then we would have to open it up to all, because there is no, once again, official religion for the United States of America based on the Constitution. Lynette Vincent May said, yes, there should be a separation of church and state. Michael France said, we are one nation. However, I may choose to worship a different God. That is so true. We'd have to allow it all. That's right, Shantarsha Johnson Lawrence. We would have to allow it all. The Under God clause was added after the original pledge. It was added in 1954. Okay, so that was not a part of the original, and that's from Duchess. That's not part of the original Pledge of Allegiance. But I have to go back to what Michael France says, under God. But what God are we worshiping? I may be worshiping a different God. I may worship Buddha. I may worship Muhammad or Allah. I may have a different God than you. So yes, and that is all right in the United States. That is what this nation was built upon, your freedom to worship like you want to worship. Hello, Sister Elaine Summers Burton. Thank you for joining me. Do you think there is, this is a different question, there is a separation of church and state in America? Or do you think there's too much intertwining of the two? Do you think that it is there is the appropriate separation of church and state in America, or do you think that it's intertwined when it's convenient to the powers that be, and is separate when it's not convenient to the powers that be? What do you all think about that? Duchess said, I think it is a mockery that we have religious doctrine on display, but our hearts are filled with hell. And I think that is exactly what that Grace Methodist, that's what that statement was implying. That you are talking about you want to post something like the Pharisees, you want to post something to say this is how you should live, but you don't want to live it yourself. You want to talk about the letter of the law, but then the spirit of the law you completely ignore. Lynette Vincent says this is the form of control. Shantasha Johnson Lawrence says it is definitely intertwined. And as Michael France and I were discussing earlier, and perhaps some of our congressmen and senators and government officials don't know any better than when they say that this country was founded on religious Christian beliefs. No, it was not. No, that's not true. And I think some of them do know better. Now we look at the Supreme Court that we have now. Do you think for the Supreme Court that we are dealing with, that they understand the Constitution and the tenet of separation of church and state? Or do people just want to do what they want to do and it really doesn't matter? Do you think that we are still, our government officials, our government still look to the Constitution as the law of the land, or are they just making it up as they go, doing what they want to do, especially when it comes to religion and the separation of church and state? Lynette says the same people that make you want to have the Ten Commandments are the same people who take your books away so you can't read and think and decide who and what you want to believe in. Okay, yeah. And I saw one of the they were talking to one of the officials, government officials from Louisiana, and she was talking about, oh, this is just a historical document. And I thought, now that's very rich, this being just a historical document, when you are wanting to whitewash history and take out just a plethora of historical events out of what you're teaching students. You want to talk, you don't want to teach them about slavery, and you don't want to teach them about other things that are pertinent to them, but you say that the Ten Commandments is just a historical document, and that's, it's not a religious document, it's a historical document. I thought that was very interesting. Duchess said they understand but choose to ignore it, and they count on our collective ignorance to allow them to get away with it. Our ignorance or our apathy. Hello, there's my godson. Hey, godson, Dr. Jacory Calloway. I'm going to bring old Dr. Jacory in with us. Dr. Jacory has a doctorate in theology, so he's going to help us talk about religion in America today. Hello, Sandra Pelletier. How are you doing? Adriel Vincent said, I would not trust that they are teaching sound doctrine in school, regardless of whatever religion they were discussing. At least in church settings, I can hear what's going on and decide myself if I want to leave that church. With schools, it would be more complicated. You are so correct. Hello, Dr. Jacory. How are you doing? I see
I
Sky back there. Hey, Sky. How my baby doing? Hello, Starlet. How are you guys doing? I thank you. I know you all are so busy, so busy. Um, but we are talking tonight, Dr. Jacory. This is Dr. Jacory Calloway. And he, like I said, he has his PhD
Dr.
in
Smith.
theology. And he is also a pastor of Mobile Heights Church and Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Calloway. Thank you for taking your time. But we are discussing religion in America, and we were talking about the separation of church and state. As a pastor, let me ask you this question. You know about the law that they passed in Louisiana requiring all requiring the Ten Commandments be posted in all classrooms, um, K through 12, state and college university, state colleges and universities. What do you think about that?
I think it will be great, a great thing for our kids and our students to get that information, especially about religion. However, they're going to get a lot of kickback because everybody in the school systems or um, everybody that's a part of it, they are not believers, and so that's going to be the kickback because not everybody is a believer. And so I think that in cases like that, we have to decide on if we're going to risk the non-believers trying to take away from what we are really trying, the point that we're trying to make. And so I think that Louisiana made the first step in doing that because they are requiring it. And then, it's a fine line because now we're in the time of DE&I, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And you have different laws where I may believe in Christ, but then the person next to me, they're a non-believer, and so we cannot force our religion on people. We can only encourage them. And so, even though I'm for it, I know it's going to be hard because there are going to be a lot of lawsuits because of that.
Okay. And you're active in your school, your PTO and everything at your kids' schools, right? So what if Montgomery were interested in doing something like that? What would be your advice? Would you want them to post the Ten Commandments in the schools?
I personally, yes. I feel that it's very important. Um, but you're always going to get a lot of kickback from the non-believers. But
Okay, so
if Montgomery decided to do that, then I'm all for it because of my religious background.
okay. So what about, okay, and like I said, you just graduated from theology school. So what about, okay, the Christians want to post the Ten Commandments. And like you said, we got 2% of America are Jewish, so they want to post the Torah, some things from the Torah. You got Muslims there, they want to post something from the Quran. You got the Buddhists. So would you be in favor of all those different religions because America does not have an official religion? and there is supposed to be a separation of church and state. So would you be in favor of all those other religions having the opportunity to post their information as well?
I think that if that is something in their beliefs, and if everybody get a fair chance, that's when we're talking about the DE&I. If
Uh-huh.
everybody get the fair chance, I don't have a problem with that. I just know my belief, and I know what I believe in. And if I'm strong in my religion and my faith, then whatever they post wouldn't matter to me, because I know who I serve. And so you will get a lot of times, if and we have to be careful, because now we've opened up the door, or Louisiana has opened up the door, where everybody going to want to post their religious background, their
Mm-hmm.
information. And so it's going to be a lot on them, and they're going to have to decide on what direction they're going to go into this, because guess what, and I hate to say this, but there are going to be a lot of lawsuits, because they're going to say, well, you posted one religion, or the 10 commandments, why can't you post ours? And so
Right,
that is something
right.
that we have to look at.
So you have Sky riding in the back of the car with you. Would you want the school teaching her religion?
um I don't have a problem with that, because I think I used the illustration this morning. Everybody in my car gonna get it. In my household, that's just a part of who we are. But if the school teaches it, we got to make sure that it's the right doctrine, because everybody
That's what I'm saying.
may.
Would you want? I mean, because there's a separation of church and state, and like you said, if we put one out there, then they're gonna have to teach us about Judaism. They're gonna have to teach us about being a Muslim. They're gonna have to teach us about being a Buddhist. So, would you want the schools teaching Sky about religion?
Of the other
Mhm.
religions, or strictly?
Yeah, yeah.
No.
No, not just Christianity. No, I'm talking about
In
because
general.
in general.
In general, I think it would be too much and overwhelming.
Uh,
I
Okay.
don't I don't because then and I don't know what the audience that's watching, but you'll have the um Jehovah's Witness may say everybody's going to hell if you don't believe what they believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want her to be in that type of situation. If they're going to teach it, you have to be careful about that,
Okay.
because you're opening up the doors for a lot of different theology, a lot of different types of religious background.
Oh, okay.
And so I would rather her, and I know this cannot happen if we're going to do it, I would rather her to learn the Christianity side of it, what
Okay.
we believe in. But I don't want to take from somebody else's belief, because they believe in what they believe in, if that makes
I,
sense.
I understand. I understand that just as strongly as I believe in God, people who are Buddhists believe just that strongly in Buddha, and people who are Muslims believe in uh, Allah just as strongly as I believe in God. So, anyway, Mr. Jerry Jackson said, let's look at some comments. There is a major difference between religious practices and Christianity. A lot of this is done for an outward
Read
show,
there.
but
Somebody.
behaviors are contradictory to the practice.
Read.
Politicians really don't understand Christianity. Christianity is to be Christ-like. Christ practiced love, supported the poor, took care of the widows, and loved all. Amen. Good evening, Jason Vincent. Thank you for
Hey,
joining.
read.
They need to teach the gospel at church first before teaching it elsewhere. You got that
Correct.
right,
That is so
Jason.
true.
You got that right. Mr. Jackson said, what if you wanted to have a religious assembly in school and require everyone to attend? Um, you, uh, Duchess agrees with Jason. Duchess says other religious groups would have as much right to display their beliefs as Christians. That's true.
Yep.
Jason, I need the schools to teach my child calculus and trigonometry. I have prayer, morality, and Christ covered. Okay.
Well, let me say this. There
Okay.
are there are colleges, and by me working in higher ed, there are colleges and universities that have assemblies every week. Like for instance, I was able to go over to Wiley University, and well, at the time it was Wiley College in Texas. They had a religious assembly there, and they have a variety of students there. Tuskegee University,
So
they
is
have
it
it. Talladega,
required that the students attend though?
it depends on the type of school it is. Like
Oh,
some schools, that is a mandatory class that you take.
okay. And I know like you have Methodist schools and Baptist schools, but you know going into that school that that's a Methodist school, that's a Baptist school, that's a
Correct.
Mormon college, and you
Correct.
know their religious beliefs, or you know that going into that this is a Methodist college, so I'm
Correct.
going to have to do this, or this is a Baptist college, they have these principles that I'm going to follow, or this is a Mormon college that, but just at a state university or a state college, um, for something to be mandated that is a religious assembly, yeah, for you to have that option, to have that class, they have classes on the church. Jordan was taking a class at the University of Alabama on religion
And
in
that's a state
America.
school.
That's a state
Uh,
school, but she chose that. It's not a mandated. She
right.
chose to take that class. They offered it and she
Right.
chose to take it, but nobody is required to take that class. Um, uh,
It's
Again, I
also
do not
offered.
agree with schools teaching my children about God. That's Duchess. Lynn says religion is a personal thing,
It
and
is.
nobody should have the right to a religion, to one religion over another. Uh, Perfect example in Cincinnati, they had a Christmas tree, and the Jewish wanted their candles displayed. Wait a minute, I can't see more. It was more to that statement that Lynn had, but I can't see the rest of it. But anyway, Mr. Jackson said, I strongly disagree with Dr. Jacoby. Dr. Jacoby, religion should not be taught in school. If you want those practices, send your child to a Christian school. Okay. And Duchess said, I taught my children and church teaches them that is not the school's responsibility. Miss Shantasha Lawrence said they don't just need to be careful, they don't need to do it. School needs to keep the main thing the main thing. It's not the responsibility of the school. Um,
Now, what?
Jerry
Let
Jackson
me
says,
let
I
me
don't
let me
want anyone in
clarify.
my family. Okay, go ahead.
So,
Go ahead, Mr. Dr.
when I
Corey.
say teaching in there, what I'm saying is, if it's something that the state does, I don't get into the political side of it, and should offer it as an elective or whatever, but to put one religion over other, I don't agree with that. And one thing about it is, if there's something, and this may help clarify what I'm saying, if there's something that you do not want your child to be a part of, you're going to remove them from that environment anyway. So what I'm saying is, if that was a part of Skyland's curriculum, then
Mm-hmm.
I have a choice to allow her to go there, or I have a choice not to let my child be a part of that.
Okay.
Understanding that school is for the when you're looking at uh, um, colleges, they're requiring schools not only to have the math, science, English, the courses, but also there's opportunities for them to get those liberal arts classes. Like for
Mm-hmm.
instance, religion class is taught in every school.
Right.
It's an elective,
Right.
and so
Right.
if that's a requirement and that will help, then I won't have a problem with it. I'm not saying that I agree with them just saying, "Hey, we're gonna have the Ten Commandments here. This is what the believers, the Jews, what all of the other religions. I don't think that's fair to them, because if we're teaching one way, then how they're gonna feel about what they believe in.
Yeah. Okay. And and I guess the issue that most are having is this is a public school, and a lot of people don't have an option. They have to send their child to school. You're mandated to send your children to school. So so they are force feeding this to the
Yeah.
kids. But anyway, I want to get past that because I want to ask the question, um, does your religious beliefs influence your political beliefs? And that is for you, Dr. Jacory, and for everyone out there to respond to. Does your religious beliefs influence your political beliefs?
Yes, because certain things I personally do not believe in. For instance, um, I'm a Democrat, right? I'm a proud Democrat. When I ran for school board, I was a Democrat. I was a Democratic council, right? A Democratic candidate. And
Mm-hmm.
so there are some things that the Democrats believe in that it's against our religion,
Uh-huh.
of my belief. For instance, what's one thing that you can think of, and this is just for the group. One thing that we can think of is what
Well,
y'all gonna be surprised when I say this. Like, one thing that the Democratic Party is pushing is what? Abortion.
abortion. Yeah, I thought that would be what you were saying.
I don't
Mm-hmm.
believe in that.
Well, and I have to beg to differ with you, Jacory. The Democratic Party is not pushing abortion. They're pushing a woman's right to choose whether she has an abortion or not. They're not telling anybody ever to go out and have an abortion. I have never heard a Democrat say that. What they're saying is that should be your decision. But go ahead.
Yeah, but there's some, and I have to look back. I'm not in front of it, but there's a couple of some research out there where some are wanting to put that into play, and so I understand that side, but I'm just speaking for, this is Jacory's view. I'm not talking
Uh-huh.
about the pastoral side or anything. Like, this is Jacory's view. I there are some things that like I said, I'm a Democrat heart to heart, but there are some things that I just don't agree with what the Democratic Party is doing and what we have on the agenda. And so,
Uh-huh.
to each his own. I know everybody gonna have their opinion
Uh-huh.
about the
Yeah.
politics.
And, and I understand, that there are some things that may be, but does your religion, okay, so does your religious belief influence your political beliefs then? No,
Yes,
it does. Okay, so
yes,
what in your religious beliefs make you a Democrat? You said that there's things that on the platform that you don't necessarily agree with, but I mean, on in the political, I mean, in the religious spectrum, what is it that? So I guess you say your religious beliefs align more with the Democratic Party than the Republican Party. Is that what you're
right.
saying? Okay, okay,
Like when we talk about taxes and things like that, I
okay.
I'm more on the Democratic side than I am. I'm definitely not a Republican at all. I don't
Mhm.
care if there are no Democratic candidates running. and I can say this on here, I'm not going to vote for a Republican at all. That's just my personal.
Okay. Okay.
I hope
All right
you
then.
get what
So
I'm trying to
let
say. You heard me. I said I hope that makes
you
sense
breaking
of.
up a little bit on me. What you say now?
Tell what I said I hope that makes sense of what I'm trying to say. Is yes, my political views has something to do with my with my religious background, my Christianity.
Okay.
I am firm in my Christianity. I
Okay.
believe
Okay.
in Christianity, and that will take precedent over my political side.
Okay. 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 Um,
I'm not a conservative.
uh, United Conservative. Okay.
Not at
Okay.
all.
So, not at all conservative.
No.
Okay. So, Jason said there is the two-party system that is the problem. Okay. Let's go on. Said the vast majority of Americans have a religious preference, and it says that that's predominantly one is Christian. Though
Say it
that
again.
percentage is declining at the time, much smaller proportions of Americans say religion is very important to them and that they belong to a church or that they attend church regularly. It says 22% of Americans say they have no religious preference at this time. In 1973, 87% of the United States identified as Christian, and 6% were non-Christians but other religions, and 5% did not have a religious preference. So now there has been a big change from 5% to 22% that have no religious preference, and Christianity has dropped from 87% to 68%. And then this is the one that gets me. 45% of Americans say that religion is very important in their life. Another 26% say it's fairly important, and 28% say it's not very important at all. So, um, and then with churches, it says that um, ask whether they have personally attended church, synagogue, mosque, or whatever in the past 7 days. 32% of U.S. adults said that they had done so, either in person or virtually. Uh, and in 2000, 44% had gone to church. In 1958, 49% had gone to church in the past 7 days. There has been a decline in church attendance. Um, and it says 21% of Americans said that they attend religious service every week. 9% say they attend almost every week. 11% say that they attend about once a month. And that leaves the majority saying that they seldom or never attend church. But these are people who you see the percentage that say that they are Christian or they have another religious belief, but they're not attending church. And then when it comes to church membership, less than half Americans, 45%, belong to a formal house of worship. And in 1999, that was 70%. Now it's down to 45%. Um, my question to you guys, how important is your religion to you? And does your religion play an important role in your day-to-day decision making? Well, I know, Dr. Jacory, that your religion is very important to you. You have said it all along. Um, um,
The
so,
important part,
so,
I was gonna say, the
uh,
important part is not putting myself in situations to have me not to go against my religious preference, my Christianity. I try not to
Okay.
get in situations like that, and if I see a situation that's going to put me in that, put me in that type of situation, then I will walk away from it, if that makes sense.
Okay. All right. And Joyce said that she thinks that there's so much hypocrisy driving people out of the Christian church.
Yep.
Um, Jason says you have to define religion. Well, I'm talking about the religion. You have Christianity, which includes the Protestants, which includes non-Protestants, which includes the Catholics. Then you have other religions. Um, uh, you have other religions which are like Jewish, Muslims, Buddhists, and then of course you have other other religions. But that is what I mean when I say religion. Religion, period. Um, let's see. Many Christian is a driving force in how my Christianity is a driving force in how I live my life, says Duchess. Jason says religious attempts to change one from the outside in, like the old law. Michael France said my faith is important. If I say I'm a Christian, then my actions should reflect that. Amen. Christianity is about my personal life and how I show up with the hand and feet of my Savior. Okay, so how important is religion to you? It kind of bothered me that so many Christians or either even if you're say you're Muslim or you're saying your religion is not very important to you. As far as I'm concerned, that should be the most important thing, and that's just me. And yes, for me, my religious belief, my Christianity, my belief in Christ dictates my day-to-day decisions. There are a lot of things that I won't do, just like you said, Jacory, that you won't do because I'm a Christian. There are a lot of things that I do uh, because I am a Christian. There are places I don't go because I'm a Christian, because of my religious belief. But it just bothered me. Lukewarm, lukewarm, lukewarm. That to me is a big problem. That there are so many people who are self-proclaimed, I guess, lukewarm. If your religion is not very important to you, then that's what that says to me. Uh, um, Mr. Jerry Jackson said Christianity is about, okay, he said that. Jason said relationships change one from the inside. This is true. And Jerry said, I am disdained with religion. My relationship is the most important factor, your relationship with God. Uh, Dr. Jacory, do you think, and I know, we get into that religion relationship. Do you distinguish between the two, religion and relationship with God? Do you distinguish between the two?
The most important piece of it is having the relationship, because everybody's going to say they're a believer, but if they're a believer, they're going to have a strong relationship with them. So it's very important we say that we are Christians. Like, for instance, with the teaching of that in the schools and all of that, everybody is not going to be taught. And what I tell people all the time is, I know and I'm strong in where I come from and all the teachings that I have. I was looking back through the comments. I know I read someone, I think Jason wrote that he would rather form teach trigonometry and
Catholic.
biology and all of that,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
calculus. And I say this because, and not saying that I'm for the in school teaching of that, but we trust them to teach our children math and science and English, right? And that's just a food for just a thinking about it. I'm not saying I'm for it, but we trust them to teach them that. And I read the comment where he said he would rather them teach them that than religion. So I'm on the flip side, being the the devil advocate, and saying we trust them to teach that. How do we know that's correct and right?
Well, let me say this. I don't trust the way they teach math now. Okay,
Right.
that's me. I don't trust the way they teach math because I don't think the children get it. But that's just another story. History. I don't trust the teaching of
Correct.
history in school. So if I don't trust math and history, I wouldn't trust them to teach
Right.
them no religion.
And that's the point that I'm making.
Uh,
We're just
uh, uh,
and we got to
period.
teach them at home. It starts with us teaching our children first at home.
Okay, let me, because we are running out of time. Lord have mercy, y'all have been so, I mean, on it tonight. Thank y'all so much. We're running out of time, but thank y'all guys so much for your interaction. I did want to get this question to you guys. Do you think parents should force their children to share their religious beliefs, or should they let them decide for themselves what, if any, religious principles they will adopt? Let's see what we got. This was a hot topic. Maybe part two. Yeah, maybe part two. As universal science is up for debate, it changes based on who is observing it. The whole wait. The whole problem is, in a nutshell, we're trying to impose your religion on others, even if you change them in. Oh, I don't know why. Okay, even if you change them on the outside from conditioning, they don't change within. There's a word for it, cultural conditioning. Okay, but there is so many forms of religion. I would not allow my child to entertain any religious teachings from anyone except me. I don't understand the question. You don't understand the question, Lynn, when I ask, do you think that parents should force their children to share their religious beliefs? You don't think so, Ja'Cory? You think that the children should be allowed to choose, decide? I mean, because when they get grown, they're going to decide anyway.
Correct.
Um, but and of course, you can't make anybody accept Christ. All you can do is lift him up in their presence, if that is
Right.
what you're teaching, or if you're a Muslim, or if you're a Jehovah's Witness, or if you are a Buddhist or whatever. All you can do is teach them those practices. Um,
Yep.
but
We can
uh,
encourage them and teach them those, and pray that they take those the background and the Christianity that we have taught them, and pray that they take it along the way with them. But
okay,
there eventually it's a decision for them to make.
okay. And as you said, we teach them when they are young, but ultimately they decide for themselves. Yes, we have no other option but to allow them to choose. That's true. Yeah, and we encourage them to follow the teachings of Christ. This has been a very, very interesting discussion tonight. Oh my God, I did not expect this, but I have prayed over this. And so I guess the Lord has anointed this, and I pray to God over this because that's what I believe. But so we will have to have a part two of this. Jason said cultural conditioning, people who were religious but no relationship with God is how you can have Christians enslaved our ancestors for 300 years. Are they Christians, Jason? And see, that's why I say religion, because I don't, Christian is to be Christ-like, and I don't extend that moniker over everybody who say that they are religious, even if they say that I'm a Protestant, I'm a Baptist, I'm a Methodist. Okay, you be that, but Christian has some characteristics that go along with it, and I just don't. I personally don't just give that out to any and everybody. But this has been great, guys. Thank y'all so much for joining in tonight. Wow. We will have to have some more discussion on this at a later date. But like I said, guys, early in the show, if there's something, we know we got to get a part 2 of this. And then, Lynn, I know you wanted some more discussion on the presidential election, and we will discuss that some more as well. But if there are any other topics that you guys want us to discuss, drop them in the chat, and me and Mr. Jackson will make it happen. Mr. Jackson, me and him gonna have to talk because this is second week he done left me by myself. Producer. But anyway, I love all of y'all and thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe to Divinely Guided. This Divinely Guided podcast. That's the mother-daughter team of Duchess Thomas and Duchess Thomas Vincent and Adrielle Vincent. It drops every Monday. They talk about self-care. And don't forget to subscribe to Juju's Dollhouse. I don't have the links to drop in the chat. I can't do that. But anyway, I'll put them in the comments later on. And then don't forget, and also, Buy Juju for You is a proud sponsor of Hold Up the Light nonprofit that is a nonprofit designed to reduce recidivism, the recidivism rates. Thank you guys so much for joining me. This has been an awesome discussion. We'll have to continue it at a later date. Thank you, Dr. Jacory. I know you were leaving one event and you got on here. And I appreciate the fact that you had your opinion, which may not have necessarily been other people's opinion, but you were willing to share it. That's what this is about, listening and discussing so that we can all grow from it. So I appreciate you so much. You know I love you. Love you too, Star.
Mm-hmm.
Love you, Sky. Thank you, guys. See y'all later.
All
But
right.
anyway, all righty. So thank you guys for joining. Next week we will be talking about disinformation, and that goes along in a sense with the upcoming election, being aware of disinformation, but not just the upcoming election. We need to be aware of disinformation and know how to recognize it and knowing where to get our information from so that we can more readily trust the information that we're getting and kind of the good, bad, and the ugly of the internet. Should your baby be watching TikTok? That's a question. But anyway, and then the weekend of July the 7th, we won't be here. We will be off that weekend, but we'll come back in the following weekend of July the 14th. So thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I love you. I appreciate you. Like and share this video so others can see this discussion. It was great. And until next time, I am Juju. I am that mountain moving giant slayer. And I wish each and every one of you much love and many blessings. Good night.